Hello, Victor? Hello? Hello, Victor, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, Victor, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, Victor, it's Judith.
Okay, Judith, I can hear you.
Wonderful. I'm going to be putting you on hold to call 2 more people in, so just please hang on, okay?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Is it loud enough? You're in?
Hello, Virginia. I'm going to put you on hold. I have one more person to call in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mike speaking. How can I help you?
Hello, Mike. I have all of you on the spider phone at this time. If everybody could please confirm that we're all there. I have Micah, Virginia, Victor, and Scott.
Yeah, there's like 7 copies here. So
Okay, Mike is here.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Scott, are you there? Victor, you're there? This is Judith.
Yes, Judith, I'm here.
Wonderful. Scott, you're there?
I'm here.
Virginia?
I'm here.
Micah?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We're all here.
that was brilliant.
Your mic's working now?
Yep. All right, we're going to call to order the Borough of Morrisville Borough Council meeting for Tuesday, February 15th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Yes. Mayor Anderson?
Here.
Councilman Cicero?
Yeah.
Councilman Engelhardt?
Here.
Ms. Lava?
Here.
Mr. Lubin?
Here,
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Paul?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Scott?
Here.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Here.
Our borough solicitor is here.
Yes. Scott Holbert and Randy Flavor are both here.
Thank you, Randy.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Yep, okay.
Good evening, everyone. Prior to Borough Council meeting, we had executive session for approximately an hour to discuss a case of active litigation, specifically Don Rice versus et al. Versus the borough that you're all familiar with. We will be adding an item to the after public comment or after whenever the president sees fit somewhere. What number do you want?
It'll be 8G.
Okay, we're heading an item 8G, a motion, and the motion, want me to read the motion?
Yes, please.
The motion will read, Morrisville Borough Council does not support the concept plan of Select Morrisville LLC as presented beginning in August of 2018 through December of 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, we have a presentation tonight, 3A, Family Promise of Lower Bucks by Jessica Swartz. And we're going to limit you to 10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jessica Schwartz. We have some handouts for you, if that's okay. I'm the director for Family Promise of Lower Bucks, a local nonprofit that is currently seeking to make its new home here in Morrisville Borough. According to the latest data from the Pennsylvania Department of Education, over 700 school-age students reported experiencing homelessness in Bucks County. 437 of those were from Lower Bucks. Family Promise of Lower Bucks provides unique and comprehensive 24-hour services to families experiencing housing instability through 3 core programs. The first, our Hospitality Network, is a volunteer-led program that provides families with daytime and overnight shelter, meals, and daily needs. Family Promise currently partners with local places of worship to provide that private overnight accommodations in order for families to stay together during a crisis, where at traditional shelters, they may be divided into separate men's and women's dorms. The guest families, as we call them, are transported between the day center and the host site each day via a Family Promise van. The second, our Promise to Permanency program, extends beyond basic needs support, providing intensive case management, advocacy, and connections to community resources to help families regain and maintain independent housing. One of our past guests, we'll call her Dana, was a single mother who was struggling to hold a job and care for her 4 small children. Our family advocate and team of volunteers helped Dana to find daycare, transportation, a job, and housing in Morrisville Borough. 2 years later, she is in permanent housing, working and going to school full-time, and building a solid future for her and her now 5 children. The third, our Future Begins at Home program, allows us to provide funding to families that may have fallen behind on their rent or bills, small car repairs, assistance with medical or dental bills, etc. Keeping families in their current homes is not only more cost-effective to the government, but more importantly, it saves the children and their families from experiencing the trauma of eviction and homelessness. We recently assisted a Morrisville family with funding to pay a past due water bill. Family Promise of Lower Bucks is currently in search of a static site, which is why I'm here tonight. It's a property. The static site model is a shelter program where the guest families don't rotate weekly through host sites provided by the congregations. Instead, this site would be our office/day center, as well as the site where the families sleep overnight, and volunteers come to the site to support the families. We believe we have found that property in Morrisville Borough at 423 North Pennsylvania
I'm
Avenue.
going to stop you there. Just, I'd prefer you stay off of mentioning a particular property.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize. Converting a property to a temporary home for families in need would be the beginnings of a solution in our county. Details for the use of the property include temporary housing for vetted families. On average, we have had 2 to 3 families at a time. The vetting process includes each adult being screened for violent criminal history and Megan's Law. We do not accept anyone with active substance use disorders, and we do drug tests on intake, with random tests through tenancy if there is a suspicion of use. The length of stay for each family is approximately 3 months until transitional or permanent housing can be identified. Other people that would be on site during the day would be myself, the staff person for the organization, volunteers, and representatives from local businesses and organizations that present classes to the families on topics like financial stability, nutrition, family strengthening, and parenting. We plan to have a comprehensive security entry system installed and a 9 p.m. curfew in place unless work or other commitments require a later time. The number of cars on site would vary, but we have had no more than 2 families with cars at any one time. I've left you with some materials that provide more detailed overview of our organization, and I welcome you all to contact me anytime with questions or for more information. We plan to do our due diligence in not only acquiring the proper zoning variants, but also in educating Morrisville residents about the great work of Family Promise of Lower Bucks and the positive impact that the Morrisville community will have on the families we serve. The borough is an ideal community because it offers convenience and mass transit, agencies, potential employment, and housing opportunities for our guests. Our hope is that we'll have the support of the council to move forward in this new venture to expand resources for families in need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we're going to move into public comment. First one who signed up is Hassam Jalad. You have, after you say your name and address, you have 3 minutes.
Sam Jalad, 45 Ridge Ave. I wanted to specifically discuss a few items here. I'll try and make it brief. This is regarding our zoning ordinance. I think we need to conduct a thorough evaluation and review of our zoning ordinances.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Say that again?
A complete review of what?
Our zoning ordinances.
Oh,
Excuse me, that's Mike.
oh, that's okay.
This might be, it might take up some work now, but I think it would save up efforts later down the road. It would alleviate a lot of resources in the future. And this is specifically regarding enforcement, code enforcement, zoning and code enforcement. Also bring our zoning ordinances up to date. Take a look at what other towns have done with similar issues. Impervious surfaces is requirements, that's one. The chicken and roosters, we've been talking about that back and forth. I don't understand why we're not up to speed and we seem to react. You know, we finally reacted to smoke shops, but now we have 9 smoke shops for a small borough as ours. So, the damage is done. And the idea is to prevent it from happening. And then make sure our zoning ordinances are being enforced, otherwise it's useless. And it would jeopardize our safety and quality of life. There's a lot of work that goes in adopting an ordinance, and basically not enforcing it defeats the purpose of having it. This is specifically to long-term rental, and this may tie to the presentation that we just listened to. Long-term rental not just provides or ensures the safety of neighbors, also the tenants from abusive landlords. And having rules on the books not being enforced, I think is a big mistake. And I highly suggest and recommend that the borough takes a serious look at this and regarding enforcement of our ordinances. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Don Rice, name and address, and then 3 minutes.
Don Rice, 343 Crown Street, Morrisville. Solicitor Flagger wrote, after discussion with Save Williamson Park's attorney, Sam Stratton, quote, as a follow-up to our telephone discussion concerning your January 24, 2022 correspondence detailing proposed settlement terms from your clients, we would request a 60-day continuance to discuss the proposed settlement with Morrisville Borough. The motion that I heard, the proposed motion, does not represent a discussion of settlement terms. It's irrelevant to settlement terms. It is my hope that tonight's executive session was a discussion of proposed settlement terms. I concede you do not need to inform us about your discussions, but I request that you let us know generally or specifically about those discussions. Save Williamson Park needs to know if progress has been made on settlement terms by this Thursday. On Thursday, Save Williamson Park members will meet to discuss, to decide if the 60-day continuance is working. If we believe progress with the settlement terms is being made, we will advise Sam, so far so good. If we believe no progress is being made, then the continuance is not working, and we would request Sam's advice on proceeding to a court hearing as soon as possible. You may contact us directly, which I prefer, or you can use the more roundabout route of telling your solicitor to contact our lawyer to tell us. I prefer we discuss this with you directly, but do what you think is best. I repeat, however, please let us know of the progress of your settlement discussion by Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Horrenda, name and address, and then 3 minutes.
Mary Brenda, 343 Crown Street. The proposed Resolution 8G is insufficient to satisfy Save Williamson Park and our legal action against the borough. It does not preserve Williamson Park in perpetuity, and it does not rescind the resolution expanding the certified redevelopment area to include Williamson Park. It leaves the door open for Select Morrisville or any other developer to come back with another proposal for commercial development and apartments in the park, just not this one. Basically, you've said, no, not this development, but some other developer may come and develop the park. Save Williamson Park wants the park preserved in perpetuity. Therefore, this also entails getting the redevelopment authority out of the park, which means rescinding the expansion of the certified redevelopment area in Morrisville to include Williamson Park. Williamson Park must be taken out of the redevelopment area and preserved in perpetuity, so that our children who have nowhere else to play can play, so we can continue to have Little League games in the park, so people can come and walk and enjoy the park and the river view and the trees, and so that we can improve the park so that it is better for the residents of Morrisville and surrounding vicinity. Thank you.
Thank you. Dana Tenzillo. Name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Dina Tanzillo, 136 North Pennsylvania Avenue. I wanted to just mention that I support the EIT tax. 3 of us, 3 working adults in our household are already paying the tax. It's going to other communities, unfortunately, instead of coming here. Would much rather see that money be used by the borough. And also, I'm hoping that Williamson Park will be preserved in perpetuity. I do think that's really important that we have the language, everything established, so that moving forward, we don't have to worry about this again, and we can focus on making that better for the community. That's all.
Thank you. Next is Todd Weber. Name and address, and then 3 minutes.
I'm Todd Weber, 25 East Franklin Street. I'm here tonight to comment on the proposed earned income tax. I would like to know why, given that our taxes are similar or more than many of the other boroughs and municipalities in Bucks County, that we're not able to operate within our current means, and thus require the proposed earned income tax. It's going to increase our tax bill by $500, $700, $1,000 or more per household, an equivalent of almost 20% increase in my property taxes, on top of the millage increase that Morrisville has announced, which is among a minority of municipalities across the county that raised their reported millage rates, reported by the Bucks County Courier recently. Perhaps an informational meeting by the council would be helpful to discuss and/or explain this financial quandary before such a considerable tax is imposed on the residents of the borough. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim McGrory. Name and address, and then you have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, my name is Jim McGrory. I live at 1 Francis Avenue. My concerns are with the Grace Import Auto Repair Shop on the corner of Bridge and Francis. It seems like they have total disregard for any of the laws of our community. Stated in fact is on both sides of my street, they have signs posted, no parking from here to the corner. Those corners are always filled with their cars or their customers' cars. Makes it difficult to get in and out of that street off of Bridge Street. Several times I've had standoffs with people coming in the opposite direction, and one of us sitting there for 5 minutes trying to figure out who's going to back up or whatever. The other thing is, if you look at those pictures that I sent up there to you, you can see the situation for what it is. In the one picture, I guess it's down in the right-hand column, third picture down, that's 3 rows of cars that they have sitting in front of the building. I've seen 4 rows of cars and a tractor trailer pull up to the point where when I went to pull out of my street, I had to actually get into the lane of traffic and hope that I didn't get hit with a car. I've gone to these people, I've tried to talk to them and see if we can resolve something, and they just disregard, and they're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And I think I would hope that the council would see this and go down and check it out. Now, you look at Jules Tires, you look at T&K Auto, you look across the street at Automax. They're all repair places. Where are their cars? On their own property, not taking up the whole. In fact, right now, if you get down to my place before they close, my whole street on both sides is lined up with cars that belong to them. I can't see why something can't be done about this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, the next person, I'm sorry, but it's ECCO is the first name? Okay. How do you pronounce your last name?
Debnam.
Debnam, okay. Name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, all. My name is Echo. I'm new to the community. My address is 220 West Palmer Street. I would rather not make a comment right now because I'm sitting and I'm pulling together all the information with everyone else about SWP, and I would like a chance of, later on to be able to fully give you the information that I'm pulling together right now, if that would be okay.
Well, we have a public comment section. I mean, you can speak to any council members you want after the meeting, but once I close public comment, that's it. I mean.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next is Linda Kemple. Same thing, name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm Linda Kemple, 352 North Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm up here tonight because I'm concerned on the 1% that has been proposed. I've lived here for 18 years. I always wanted to live in a borough, and I've been very happy. I love my neighbors, but I don't see improvement in Morrisville. More money, more money, more money. And that's not the answer. The answer is to fix what's going on in the town first. Find money. When I was here last time, we didn't hire 2 police officers because of budget. I think that the people of Morrisville should be safe. Take the money from someplace else, but don't labor on people that need to be kept safe. You know, the police are wonderful. I have no problem with the police. But this is our town. We pay taxes. I don't want a whole lot of other things going on here. Our children need a park, and we need to be kept safe. Keep the businesses where they are right now, but make sure the quality of our life is better. And I'm not seeing it. This town hasn't changed one bit for 18 years, but every year there's more money wanted. I think that needs to be checked into, frankly. So I'm asking you not to impose a 1% on the people of this town, but keep our town that small town quality. And don't just look at more money, more money. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne Ashley. Name and address and then 3 minutes.
Hi, Joanne Ashley, 607 Osborne Avenue. Just really came to talk about the earned income tax. I think we really need to just try and attract more businesses here to kind of fudge out, like expand the tax base rather than just keep taxing citizens. I really don't think a 1% tax is fair on citizens for the services that we're getting, to be honest. I'm a single person household. I've lived here for 4 years. My taxes have gone up for 4 years and I haven't really gotten anything out of it. I really don't see what another 1% is gonna do for me. I don't understand how we can keep just taxing citizens and expecting to have people come and live in this town when we're taxed so heavily anyway. So I would advise you, please don't expand taxes.
Thank you. Deborah Colgan. Name and address and then 3 minutes.
Deborah Colgan, 120 West Hendrickson Avenue. I'd like to urge council to vote yes on the EIT. I think it's really important that we establish a reliable, consistent income source for the borough in addition to our property taxes. The borough manager has laid out very clearly that we need to stop playing with the budget. We need to be very honest and can't keep paying Peter to, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I hope that you will take our borough manager's suggestions and give us a good, solid budget and address our issues. I'm hoping that this would work out for us. Secondly, I really urge council at the time when you discuss the resolution related to the Williamson Park, I hope that you will explain to us why we're not hearing more. It's really important for us to know what's going on. We just please provide information to us so that we can understand better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that's the last person who signed up. So do you have, yes, you can. Just one more time for the sake of the record, name and address, and then I'll give you your 3 minutes.
Name is Echo ECCO, last name is Debnam, address is 220 West Palmer. New to Morrisville. I moved here because I'm a native New Yorker and I like the smallness of the town, the less craziness with the traffic, the whole point of being able to have the country feel within a city limit. We have Trenton on this side and Philadelphia here, and my husband still works in New York City, actually. So this gives us a piece. But having 600 people added to, I know that's not the actual picture, that's what I was told last time, to Morrisville, if they're not willing to throw in a bridge or throw in another route for them to get back and forth, that's a problem. If they're not able to add to the budget when it comes to schools, that's a problem for a system that I found out is failing. So I would like it to be considered all things that we're trying to accomplish. We have a list. I've talked to Debbie and Elizabeth, and I'm new and I'm learning all the things, and I'm willing to do whatever we can do to make Morrisville a nicer place to live. More smaller places, you know, inside of these little pockets, but not over 600 people added to our budget. We're coming up with ideas. We're being able to share things. I'd like to know, and if the group of us can find out, what is the budget that we're working with? What does Morrisville have that we can use to our advantage to help us move into the next phase of whatever? We're ready to roll with this, but we need the help of all our council to help us help the people that live here so they can see that we're willing to make a difference. We have the ideas and we're all now pulling them together, but this is all brand new to me, and I'm just gonna keep following as we all get together and try to figure out some way to make this work so that it's comfortable for us all to live together here in Morrisville. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna close out public comment, and we're gonna move on to item 5, which is approval of the minutes. We're going to combine them both together, so it's 5A and 5B are going to be combined together. 5A is approval of the Borough Council special meeting of November 10th, 2021. And then 5B is approval of the minutes for the Borough Council regular meeting of January 18th, 2022. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it to move forward. Discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. Moving on to finance, 6A, the treasurer's report. Everybody got a copy of that? So we're going to move on to 6B, which is a call for a motion to approve the bill list. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion? All right, hearing none. Virginia, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Cicero?
Yes.
Ms. Engelhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Waddle?
Yes.
Mr. Lubin?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes. All right, motion passes 8-0. We're going to move on to report. 7A is the mayor's report. Mayor, do you have anything?
Well, first off, thank you to everyone who's here tonight to give us both your time and your feelings about what's going on. It's very important that you show your passion for the town, so thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody I am starting to get requests for different events. Some of you may or may not know I've been promoting events my entire life, so if anybody needs help or assistance with anything this year, we already have some things planned for later in the year. We'll get more details on as they get closer, but if there's something that you'd like some assistance promoting, just feel free to reach out to me personally. While that's a great trait for a mayor to have, it's certainly not, our town morale is very, very important, but very, very important to me is our public safety and the morale of our department. Some of you may or may not know, we have lost 3 part-time officers this week, and I'm here a lot and on the phone a lot with our chief and some of our officers. So I just want the public to be assured this is a top priority of mine, and I will continue to work with these people to get us the staffing we need. With that being said, I'd like to move on to our chief's report because he can give you a lot more details on that.
Thank you, Mayor. So with that, we're going to move on to 7B, which is the police chief's report. Chief.
Good evening, Council. I just want to start out today by thanking one of our citizens night and does a 9 p.m. check-in, asking everybody to lock their doors in their cars. It's made a difference, but I got to ask our people in our neighborhoods to go out there and lock their doors on their cars. Just this past week, I've had 2 unlocked cars, one with a laptop in the front seat taken, and the other one with a 30-30 rifle in the back and a 9mm Glock in the glove compartment taken. It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. Your weapons need to be locked up. If you have a permit to carry, everybody has that right, and I encourage the permit to carry. You cannot leave your weapons in your car. Locked, unlocked, whatever. It's irresponsible. Talking about the EIT tonight. This has been long coming. I've been asking for it for about 6 years now. I've been a very good steward of the taxpayers' money over the last 8 years that I've been here. I've been able to stay underneath the budget every year for 8 years, but we've made it to a point that we need to raise our taxes to be able to keep our police department at the level of which it is, the level of equipment, the level of manpower. So I encourage council to approve this. If anybody has any questions ever about the taxes and where it goes to for the police department, I encourage them to call me. But we're spending less money on the police department today than we did 8 years ago. Yeah. In today's age, we can't do that. We're down to 8 police officers full-time. We got a report that says we should be at 13 or 14. I know that's a pipe dream, but we need to start looking at full-time officers that'll stay here. The mayor spoke about the 2 officers that left for Temple for full-time employment. There are two very good officers that I would have liked to have kept, but we don't have a full-time career path for them. So we are meeting next week with civil service, but that has to be a long-term thing of how we're going to hire more officers. I expect to have at least 2 new part-timers next month for your approval. I've interviewed them this week. I'm hoping that they will stay. But we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're taking from some departments, now they're going to be shorthanded. All departments are having a problem right now. Temple University is taking a lot of officers. They're hiring 40 officers, and they're basically taking part-time officers from all over the Delaware Valley. And it's hard on all of us. Everybody has the same problem. Every borough has the same problem. So, what else? Crossing guards. Anybody's looking for a part-time job, I'm looking for crossing guards. So if anybody knows of anybody, I know it's cold out there in the morning time, but I need crossing guards. We're putting our officers out there as substitutes while they still have to respond to radio calls. So the other day we had 3 openings for crossing guards. So if you know anybody who would like to apply, please encourage them to, and we'll be looking for more. I think that's about it. Any questions?
Yep.
What are you meeting with civil service for? I just missed what you
We
said.
still don't have the list together from the consortium test 6 months ago. Everything got put on hold when we started talking about layoffs and not hiring. So civil service grinded to a halt. I get them moving again. I at least want to have an active list ready to go, just in case if the funding becomes available.
Chief, just real quick, if someone is interested, what would be the hours of the crossing guards you're looking for?
They're about 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, and then 2:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And that varies half an hour, 15 minutes either way.
Okay, thank you. Chief, did you want to mention the date of the civil service meeting for
It's
council? I believe it's
February 22nd at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
I would imagine it's up here. But most of that's going to be done in executive session because we're going to be reviewing the candidates. That has to be done in executive session.
Certainly. I just wanted council to be aware of the date and the time. Thank you.
All right?
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, 7C, do we have a manager's report?
Yes, everyone has the zoning, planning, and code enforcement monthly report. Does anyone have any questions?
I have one that we received. It said that someone purchased, actually I wrote down his name. He purchased condo number 3 at the Stockham building. Can anyone speak to that?
Where did you see that?
It's on the,
It was when he was talking about the Stockham building and the status.
it was on the report, actually. It's on Keystone's report.
Oh, I see. The Stockham building is actually several units.
Correct, but I was just wondering which one's condo 3. I didn't think any of it was habitable.
It is not, although.
You can purchase it anyway?
You purchased it anyway, yes, correct.
Okay.
So we're hopeful for some redevelopment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So to follow up with that, I had asked Code a while ago and I never got an answer. I had seen that there was someone putting up cell towers on that Stockham building. Is this the same gentleman and he's making money off the Stockham building?
I'm not aware if it's the same gentleman, but I know that question is under review because I had sent an email. And there was some area of grayness as to, because of the fact that they may have been adding to the towers, if it was an allowable item or not. And I had sent an email to Code to review the MPC. So we're waiting on that.
Okay. Could you just make a note to put it in your report so that we know?
Yes.
I do have a question. It was with the engineering report. They had said that the Manor Park playground had been declined for the grant. Gilmore and Associates. Did they give a reason as to why?
And I apologize. The
Gilmore Engineering, they had written an email to us, that letter that was in our packet, and they said that the playground at Manor Park was declined for the grant that was applied for. And I'm just wondering why.
I did not hear anything in reference to that.
Can we find out why?
Certainly.
Because they say they want to reapply, but I'm like, why are they reapplying and was wasting our money if we don't even know why we were declined?
Certainly, and I have instructed Gilmore, and I'm going to bring that up at the ending of my report, to not reapply for some of these items. There has been a review regarding the matching funds that are needed for these grants. So as we're hearing that they are not being granted to us, I have said do not reapply at this time because we do not have the matching funds to follow through with them. So I was going to bring some of those issues up when I get to my report.
Well, I think the Manor Park playground is very important, and I'd like to have further discussions about that. That's the only playground down there without the kids crossing the highways. And it's one of the things that is needed, and the insurance company has asked us to improve that playground, so we need to do something about it, and the answer is not get rid of it.
Certainly, no, and basically when we did the budget, I'm not sure if you remember, council had said any more grants coming up, we're not going to redo them, not going to reapply for them, we're going to put applying, if it costs money that we don't have, we're going to put it on hold. So that was the reason that I had put it on hold.
Yeah, I still think we need to have a discussion about that.
Certainly.
I'll call you this week.
Bear with me, I'm writing the notes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No. Thank you. I do have 2 more items. Thank you, Council President. For the very first time, you're seeing a titled Borough Manager's Report. You probably all looked at it because there's only 2 items on there, and begins with capital projects. This has been an item of contention for me because of the fact that I'm used to supplying a very informational report to council. We've had to create the letterhead literally, and what you see so far has been a creation. So it's just a beginning of what the future will hold, and you'll probably have several pages worth of information once this is worked on and time progresses. At this time, what I wanted to inform council of is that the Morrisville Borough Free Library roof replacement project has been completed. It's in its final completion phase. We were fortunate enough to get $229,727.36 for CDBG funds and grant funds from the county. We were able to acquire $52,500 monies in grants from the Keystone Grant Fund, and that is what funded the Morrisville Borough Free Library Replacement Project for the roof. It's a slate roof. It's a brand new slate roof. We're very happy and very proud to inform everyone that this project was paid for. I'm still in need of about $3,000 for that project. I'm going to be reaching out to an entity in the borough for that. But this project was completely paid for without taxpayer dollars and all grant funds. So I think that we should celebrate our accomplishments, and I think that this has been long awaited. It's been a long time that this roof has been needed, and we're finally in the completion phase. So I'm just very proud for everyone that was involved with this. I want to thank everyone who helped me, staff, engineers, zoning, code, public works, with pictures. Some of the council persons actually sent me some photos with some drones. So everyone who has helped with this, it's been a huge success. So I just want to, again, celebrate our good things instead of hearing about all of the bad. Moving on to the 2020 CDBG curb ramp program. We just completed the curb ramp program at Melvin and Barnsley Avenue. That was a grant for $44,694.90. That project is also complete at this time. Again, celebrating some of the good things that we're doing that are not costing the taxpayers any funds. So thank you all. And I wanted to just touch upon something with the council. You may have noticed recently that on Fridays you've begun to get the drops that you get. You all get the same thing. We take our information and we place it in the drop, and then each of you is able to go into that and acquire the information from us. What you will receive on Fridays is basically informational. If there's something that's confidential that really needs to be heard, you will certainly get that. And then the Friday before the meeting, what we're doing differently is, if you noticed, you're getting an agenda, and then what you're getting is all the supporting documents in order of the agenda, and that, I believe, is a much more uniform way for us to produce the information to you, so you're not scrambling throughout the entire month and saying, gee, does that go to the agenda, or where does this go? So what I'd really like to have is some input from council as to, does everyone understand what we're trying to accomplish, and is that working for you?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all, and if anyone else has any other questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them.
I know that you're putting it in order, but I would like that the financials be its own upload, because when you're going through and looking, those financials could be 50 pages, they could be 100 pages, and sometimes when you're going backwards to look for information, you're just wasting time going through the financials, or sometimes I need the financials, and it would just be easier to see it as a separate upload.
Would the rest of the council like to see that as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as it has to be dated so that we, so that we can search them.
There was a time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. So what we will do is we will have them in a separate drop file dated with the agenda date. That's what we'll utilize.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the input.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to 7D, committee reports. Was there any committees that needed to? Go ahead, Nancy.
The Joint School Board Council met on February 2nd, just a few things. They did have a question as to whether the council was considering an EIT. We said yes. The process about administering it, or advertising it, I'm sorry, was explained to them. Manor Park, as you know, Old Manor Park School, they were offered an extension. They had hoped to have already had it cleared by this time, but they asked for an extension because due to environmental issues or study and financing. But they expect to close by the end of March. The safety grant, they're still working on it, on the proposed projects. They're starting their budget soon. They did get an extension for the safety grant. I think actually our chief could address. I think it goes again till this September. 21st Century is applying for cohort 11, so that's a good thing. They hope to get it. I think they probably will. This is the 11th year they've had 21st Century in all their after-school programs. They're updating their health and safety plan. You'll be able to see that on their website. They're still following the CDC guidelines at this time. The one thing they'd like to see, and I think it's a good idea, we all talked about, we all like to see it, is have some sort of not that we need another committee, but a communication committee, and how we share information back and forth. And I know we're separate entities, but we do intertwine. So if we could send our calendar to the school board, they can post their calendar to ours and ours to theirs. Let's see, maybe a link to each other. They have 2 positions open right now, one for school board and one position. This would be a person from the community. They're looking for someone who may have a background in some trades. This would be someone who would be representing the school board at the tech school. Let's see. Right now, the administration has been filling in some of the gaps with the staff and also teaching some new social studies skills. We discussed murals. I don't know if I should talk about that now or later, the murals. And then last, the IU is doing a fundraiser. It's not really a fundraiser, it's a fund drive. It's socks. And there are 3 drop locations within the school district. So they're asking for new socks only, and that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask, why is the school board asking about an EIT? Are they interested in taking half?
Well, they're a financing body in the district, and they didn't have any intention of taking any of the money, but they were just very curious about it. I mean, a lot of them are residents, and I think that's the only reason. Because, they are entitled, as we know, but I don't
They didn't indicate one way or the other.
Right.
Okay.
So.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. All right, with that, we're going to move on to action items. 8A is a call for a motion to approve the ordinance to levy an earned income tax for residents and non-residents of the Borough of Morrisville pursuant to the Local Tax Enabling Act for general revenue purposes. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
So we passed a balanced budget at the end of last year, and I didn't get anything that shows what these monies would be going toward.
Can I respond? My response
You
to that?
finished? Wait,
I'm sorry.
You finished? Is that you have any
That's
additional?
one of my questions, yeah.
Okay, anything else?
I would like to hear that answer.
I think if you look at the opposing budget that we both worked on, all of us worked on Budget A and Budget B. We passed the lesser of the two with regards to monies. If you look at the other one, you'll see where other monies will go.
Well,
Say that loud, please.
I'm sorry.
Where the money's going?
Ma'am, please no outbursts from the gallery, please.
yeah, that's really not an answer. Like, there should be a plan of where the money's going. Like, we have a balanced budget. Like, where exactly, when is the money going to come to us first? Like, so when will the EIT dollars start coming in?
I could answer that if you'd like me to. Once this goes into effect, there's 2 times in a year that the EIT tax is placed on the DCED schedule, in December and in June. So this would not be placed on the DCED agenda until June, and then the calendar and so forth. Collections would begin July, August, and September. We would not receive the funds from July, August, and September until October, November. And then the collections that take place for October, November, and December, those funds will come in January, February of 2023. So basically, by starting this now, we will not see the full effect of this in any way. We will only be receiving the funds, again, as I said, from July, August, and September in this budget. So we're unsure of the amount of funds that we will be receiving at this time. We certainly know that there's $297,000 that is going, that's in a year's collection, though, that is going to other municipalities that's actually being taken out of people's checks currently, and it doesn't come to Morrisville. So that's some of the solid information we do have. So we really,
What time period is that 297 from?
an entire year.
I know, but from what year is that from? Because changes have happened because of COVID.
Certainly. The last time that the report was provided to council, and I apologize, I had utilized the reports that I had gotten.
So like 2018, 2019?
I believe so, yes.
So those numbers could be off.
They could be, yes, and we discussed that. So everyone was aware of that. So there's certainly no windfall that's going to take place in 2022. In fact, all of the businesses and so forth are going to get to understand and know that this will be in place beginning July. Take some time for, businesses to find these things out also, and for taxpayers to get in alignment with this. Sometimes it does end up going into the next year for some of the payments because of the fact that it's an unknown factor, and everyone's getting acclimated with that. So I hope I explained that as much as.
So the monies that are going to be from October, November, December that we receive in January, is that credited to 2022 or 2023?
That will be in the 2023 budget.
Mr. Parker, can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I sat out in the audience through all this budget process and had a lot of experience with budgets. We had a $500,000 deficit, and that budget was cut. And if you want to know what it's being spent on, the budget's public. Anybody can look at it, and you can see where the money is going. And so without an EIT, there's no possible way that we can continue on going the way we are. An EIT does not impact those on a fixed income. The EIT does not have a huge impact on people who are low income. It's pennies. I know, because I paid it and I'm low income, so I know how it impacts. But it was going to someplace else, and that discouraged me. The EIT, but you know what does impact low-income people and people on fixed incomes? Having to raise our property taxes all the time. So we have to have a source of income. In November, there was a lot of suggestions by those who were against the EIT. Let's do a business privilege tax. Well, you can't do that anymore unless you're grandfathered in. So that was not possible. Same way with other taxes, I think head tax and.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, a lot of them that was suggested as a revenue source so that we wouldn't have an EIT is not even available for us to do unless you were grandfathered in. There is a local service tax, but quite frankly, how much would that cost to even collect that? Because you have to get somebody to do that and their fees. So we don't even know how much that would actually bring in. So, I mean, I don't think anybody up here wants to raise taxes, but we have to function. We can't say, well, we won't have, this is not going to be a very heavy snowfall year, so we don't have to fund that department as much. Well, that's building a budget on hope, and that's a bad strategy to do. And I think that's what's been done in the past. And that's why you're at a $500,000 deficit that you've had to cut. I think that Judith has done her first presentation was she'd cut it, what, $250,000 out of that budget?
Yes, correct.
So, I mean, the work's being done. I mean, and you can look at that budget, look at it and see how much it's been cut. You can compare. And I would encourage you to do so. So I don't think anyone's taking this EIT not seriously. We are. But I saw in the paper the other day that in Bucks County alone, $70 million had been collected by those townships and boroughs that were doing an EIT. That's a lot of money in our county that other entities are getting, other boroughs are bringing in. So I think it's something to think about and why we're doing this and why it needs to go forth. And thank you.
Thank you. I just want to clear one thing up. A business privilege tax is allowable. It's a gross receipts tax that's been eliminated and it can only be grandfathered in.
Oh, really?
Yes, but given the number of businesses in town and it has to be an equitable, we can't charge a tax to a larger entity different than that of a smaller entity. Okay. So if you have a home business and we impose a $1,500 business privilege tax, that applies to somebody working from home as well. So, and there's just simply not those number of businesses in town to make it worthwhile.
Well, thank you for the correction.
Also, we have labor increases. Our employees have contracts with costs of living increases. That's every year. That's something that we have to, by contract, we're obligated to pay them. There's also the cost of health insurance. Where anybody who has to buy it on their own understands that the price of that goes up every year. That has to be absorbed into our budget. Bringing in business is something I constantly hear. A business privilege tax is possible, but then again, it has to be across the board. Every business, whether you're a multi-billion-dollar-a-year company or you make a couple of dollars selling stuff off of eBay, it has to be the same amount. So attracting large industry is not the answer to the borough's problems. There's a lot of money going out to other entities that people who work outside of the borough pay. That will come home. And quite frankly, we're maxed out with our property taxes. And there is no way that you can begin to even think about reducing them back to a lesser amount if there's not another revenue stream. This is not just us taking money out of people's pockets and spending it with no regard. This is a new tax for me. I don't pay this currently anywhere. So this will be a completely new tax. So I don't do this, without knowing that what it's for and we need it. I mean, it's just that simple. Our roads need to be repaired. We are down to the bare minimum in staffing in public works. And we have another major problem, which is the Morrisville Municipal Authority is going to be reducing what it gives to the borough because we're not able to meet our obligations for a contract that we have with them to provide services from our public works department to them because we cannot afford a fully staffed public works department. So we are going to lose potentially $400,000, $500,000 a year very quickly. So, we can't hire employees if we don't have the revenue. We can't hire more police if we don't have the revenue. That is why we are where we are. We can play, footsie with the numbers and push things off, which is what's historically been happening here. We don't count certain bills that come in until the next year, but they're there. So we begin the next year with a deficit, and we just keep kicking that can down the road. And now that can is a barrel. And we're looking at times of $1 million deficit, $750,000 deficit, and we have to cut and increase the millage. Well, that is gone. There is no more. We're at the state cap. That's it. 35 mils is the most by law that we can even apply for. We can't provide the services that you need if we don't have the revenue, and the revenue is all of us. We are you. We are members of the community just like you. So we're not some big city government that doesn't care how you live. We live next to you. We live with you. We go to church with you. We shop in the same stores with you. We're going to hurt just like you do with this 1%. But if we want the services that we expect from our government, and that's police, roadways, public works, parks, everybody has to chip in, and I know it's going to hurt, but that's how these things are funded. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, if I can answer that.
Sure,
Okay.
sir.
Unlike Mr. Parker, who doesn't pay it yet.
I think your mic is up.
Oh, thanks, okay. Better? Still me.
Yes.
Unlike Mr. Parker, who doesn't pay it but will soon, I pay it already. I teach Penn State in Abington, so my 1% for the past year and a half I've been teaching goes to Abington, one of the most wealthy and well-to-do towns in the state of Pennsylvania. When I walk from Rydell train station up to my classroom, I walk past houses that would do well in Soulbury and New Hope. Do I want to pay it? No, I prefer not to pay it at all. But if I have to pay it, I want it to come back here and not to fund a town where the average property is probably worth $750,000, and most of the houses I can't see because they're set too far back from the road. We can't compete with that. Chief McClay, who runs, like he said, he's under budget. We have 4 active duty full-time police here. The reason we have part-timers, which is because we don't have the budget to let him hire the police we need here in town. The part-timers who quit, they quit because we can't match what Temple's paying for police down in Philadelphia. We can't compete in today's world without an EIT. Taxes have been raised, games have been played, we've kicked the can down to an end. Do we want to pay it? We really have no choice. That's the problem today. So, hope you understand it, because those are the financial numbers.
Thank you.
Mr. Parker?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Just reviewing the December financial, there's just a few things, how we started a little bit in the hole in January. And the first I'm going to mention is not going to change. In fact, it will get worse over the years. And that's our cable contracts have been reduced year after year. So this year we projected what we had hoped again, but yet got $32,000 less in cable because of all the new streaming sources and so forth. So we're not getting any revenue from Comcast or Verizon to the max that we used to get. There was $10,000 just in prior taxes that haven't been paid. There was $60,000 in trash collection that hasn't been paid yet. Now, of course, we'll go after those funds, but they're not at the ready. So, and with an EIT, even though it will come very late in the year, we may be able to hire another police officer. We may be able to, or hope to, hire somebody, 1 or 2 people on the Public Works Department. Right now we're working with 3 gentlemen in the Works Department. We may be I hope we can go back to cleaning our storm drains, collecting leaves. These are the things that we stopped doing because we don't have the money nor the manpower. So, and those are quality of life issues, to have your leaves picked up, or, I mean, we struggled to even keep the leaf dump open where you brought your own leaves. So, Catherine said it well, when you can't do a budget on hope, and there's no reason for us to keep talking about a $500,000 deficit every year. And the local service tax that she did mention, that was a $52 tax. So when she said that it wouldn't be almost worthy of collecting, it's a small number, and there is a charge to collect it. And then you not only a charge to collect it for those that are willing and abide by it and collect it, but then you have to pay money to go collect the ones that don't want to pay. So in the long run, you really have to analyze that to see if it's worth it. So there's a number of other things. You can look at the financial, that again is on the website. I believe it is. I actually have to, I know we get a copy of it, but I didn't know if that's posted yet. But I want to remind again the public, I think we should have a good relationship with our school district. I get that. But I do remind the public that 76% of what you pay in your taxes goes to the school district. So while the other 26%, I think it's a fairly good bargain for what you're getting here. And I actually have to use the word bargain, which, you know, everybody likes a bargain, but, you know, you don't get the best quality when you get a bargain. But again, if Morrisville makes if we're able to merge with Pennsbury, I mean, this has been the hope since 1986, I think, but if we change the town drastically, and we probably wouldn't be having these conversations about where does the money go and what can we spend, who can we hire, who can't we hire, can we do leaves, can't we do leaves, that sort of thing. So can we have another police officer? Can we buy more equipment? The computer equipment that the staff is using downstairs is 13 years old. So how efficient is that? I mean, there comes a time when we just have to say that's so inefficient that it's costing us money. So I'm hoping that we're able to take care of that as well. I'm sorry, I'm somewhat rambling, but these are things we talked about back in November and December when we were actually doing the budget. So I know some of it's repetitive, but, so that's.
And I just wanted to clarify, we are not part of the school district. Their portion of the bill has nothing, the tax bill has nothing to do with us. We don't control what they tax. We don't control how it's spent. The borough government has no control over the district. They're their own entity. So.
Thank you, Ted.
And they're also, by state mandates, they have to meet certain things. Yeah. So, anyone else have anything to add productively?
Hey, may I say something?
Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now, the amount before that was discussed was, I heard the number 297,000. Is that what we're currently, say, bleeding, for lack of a better phrase, to other areas that have the EIP?
Yes. I believe that was based on the last numbers we had gotten from Keystone, which is not the same Keystone as the Keystone Code Enforcement. Those were the last numbers we had gotten from them. It's probably higher. It's not an absolute number because it depends on the number of people who are working in those taxing areas and their income and, you know, the actual employment. So when that was pulled, that was accurate, but we don't have an absolute accurate number at this moment. But it would be generally in that area.
That's a full year.
What are we?
And that's for a full year.
And if we pass this, I saw a number like 1.7 million, something like that. Was that the number?
The number that you saw, Scott, would be something of possibility in the future. As I was trying to say, and not to be disrespectful to any of the council persons, this year, whatever funds we bring in, they will solely be most likely utilized for the budget that we have. We came into this with a deficit. Even though we have a balanced budget, we took the funds that we would have utilized as our reserves to pay for the bills that take us into January, February, and March until April, till the tax funds come in. So in reality, in 2022, this will only allow us to stay above water. There will not be extra funds unless there's this surplus of collections that possibly can take place that we're unaware of. But gradually moving into 2023, the number that was provided, and that number again was provided back in 2018. We didn't have anything more up to date from Keystone Collection Agency, but we're unsure at this time. It could take up to 2 to 3 years to have a full collection amount that they are notating in those reports that you saw. So, so it's unknown.
The reason why I ask that is because I've heard the number thrown around that like that 90% of municipalities have the EIP, and it would seem that, you know, if everyone around around us has an EIP except us, that the money that we would get if we passed it from the people that live in the town that don't pay it or whatever the number wouldn't have skyrocketed from 300,000 to 1.7 million. But I'm sure those numbers have to be gone over. Now, I've also have said this numerous times that I've received emails from a lot of residents that are against this. Ted touched on that. About, you know, there are our neighbors, our residents, we see them at church, we work with them and whatnot, and but I really didn't hear much else from anyone else about the impact that it's going to have on our neighbors and our residents. And I don't think it's going to be as easy on a lot of residences that are living paycheck to paycheck in the borough right now and paying the bills. Now, with that said, this is an easy fix. You know, to basically plug a hole. Now, with President Parker had said with the losing the money from the MMA, that this is basically going to plug another leak. This will come in handy to replace that money. So my question is, if we're basically plugging the leak that we're going to we got to plug this leak. What are we going to do in 2 years, 4 years, and 6 years? We have a council that's going to be here for 2 and 4 years. The reference that President Parker used about kicking the can that now it's a barrel, in a couple of years, it's going to end up being that water tower that's down by the Cannon Street Bridge. It's going to be a real big barrel. There are some people that are in this town, some people still on council, who have way more calluses on their feet than I do from kicking this can. It's been kicked for a long time. What is the solution? We need to come up with a solution, because the easy thing to do here is to pass this and then worry about our next deficit a couple of years down the line. Now, surrounding towns around us, I don't believe Falls Township has one. Lower Mayfield may have one, I'm not sure. But there are other communities that don't have an EIT. And what is the comparison between them and between us? What have they done? Have they developed things? Have they built things? I'm not saying that developing Williamson Park is the answer. I'm not, okay? And there's a lot of things about that project that I don't like. However, we are landlocked. We have to build up. We cannot build out. We have to do something about our finances. And as far as development goes, all these, there's development popping up all around us. Our last development was Melvin Court 30 years ago in their townhomes. We need a plan. This is the easy part, but we need to come up with something. We've been watching this happen, some of this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And we have to come up with a plan. Does anyone have any ideas? And listen, I don't have all the answers. I don't. I'm a resident on North Pennsylvania Avenue that I'm not a developer. I'm not a banker. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a real estate agent. I don't do that stuff. We pay other people to do that. We had someone come in, offer to do that for us, and we turned it down. I heard Stockton Building mentioned earlier tonight. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay, the Stockton Building is not. That's not going to fix our woes. It's not. The Bridge Street is not going to get developed. Okay, the easy part is saying no. I'll paraphrase one of our former mayors, Mayor Wisnowski, a few meetings ago came up and said that Morrisville has always said no. Maybe if we look in the mirror and we have a budget doomsday every October and November, and then we have our budget vote in December, if we looked in the mirrors and said, all we do is say no here, and we end up with the same problem. So that's my 2 cents on this EIT. There's plenty of people that it's going to hurt the people. This is not. To some people it's nonchalant. If you're retired, if you're on disability, whatnot, you don't have to pay. It's no big deal. If anyone thinks this is easy, and this is not that big of a thing, you write me a check for $1,000, pay mine next year, and tell me how easy it is. It's not. There's a lot of working families in this borough. They don't care whether the school district is separate from us and whatnot. I know that. People know that. People they end up at the end of the year paying taxes in this borough. Okay, they don't want to hear that the school tax is the majority of the thing. Even though it is, they don't care about that. They're worried about what their tax bill is. So.
I also think they're concerned about whether or not we can afford officers, whether or not we can get them patrol cars. The park development is what, $400,000 in income tax? Property tax, rather? 800,000 if, wait, I let you have your time. Even if it's 800,000, that money goes away as well. So it's not the savior of the town that everybody thinks it is. The only thing you can plan for is to use the revenue wisely. And if we find ourselves with excess revenue, then we look at reducing millage to offset those increases over the years. The number one goal should be to merge our school district, whether or not people know about the school district, with Pennsbury. Our property values will change probably overnight because we are now part of a larger district that has greater opportunities for its students. The offset is losing the small feeling of the district, but if I had school-age children, I'd want them to be in a school that they were able to get the programs the classes, the advanced placement classes, the college prep classes, a fully funded athletic department, then have a classroom that is still not that small considering the number of students we have.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and maybe we could have a couple of additional advocates who could help us. I don't want to talk down or negatively about our neighbors to the north in Lower Makefield, but there are quite a few residents of Lower Makefield who have no problem telling us how to run our borough and what to do with our park. If they want to help the borough out,
all right,
and facilitating some sort of a school merger.
all right. It's been worked on for as long as I've been. I was on the school board prior to this, and I'm coming into my 12th year of public service, and we're still talking about it. But I think we're closer now than we may have ever been in those 12 years.
So we've been told.
So we've been told. All right, unless anybody has anything.
One comment.
All right.
Mr. Robinson asked about, Falls doesn't have one. Well, Falls happens to have dumps. They have waste management, and if you notice, we received a proposal, information only. Stop me if I'm talking that not public information, but I think it was advertised. There's going to be a new development down there in addition to the larger development. And they gave the stats as to how much money Waste Management gives to Falls Township every year. They also give $1.3 million to Pennsbury School District. So that's listed, and it's, you read it and you cringe and you say, isn't there some way some of that can be thrown our direction? Particularly since Waste Management, even though we've tried to handle the trucks, they still come through town. Many of them have been making a right on Philadelphia Avenue, which is good.
I agree with you. It would be nice, but it's a state road.
Yes.
And which is one of the major reasons why we can't restrict the traffic on there. It's not our road. The state has its own regulations on it. It would be nice, but.
Oh, I'm talking about Waste Management just throwing us some money every now and then.
They're not,
not the trucks. I know we can't control them.
Well,
would be great.
There's 2 points to that, and the first one is this council needs to start getting a plan together. Just sitting here saying, oh, it would be nice for Waste Management to give us money. We need to approach Waste Management because those trucks are going down South Pennsylvania Avenue, and we need to go to them and say, you're ruining our town. You're creating an unhealthy environment for us. It's not a livable condition, but we just sit here and we whine. So at some point, we need to start taking action and not being the victims. And the second point is, I forgot because I got on a rant.
All right. Well, if nobody else has got anything that we haven't discussed a dozen times before, we're going to put this to a vote.
Oh, I remember, Ted, if I can.
Well, I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, it's just 30 seconds. The other thing is we need to have a conversation with Waste Management that they talk to their trucks and tell them to go down Tyburn and not South Pennsylvania Avenue.
All right. Virginia, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Cicero?
Victor? Yes.
We'll come back to him.
All right, we're going to have to skip over him for a second.
Okay. Ms. Engelhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
No.
Mr. Lubin?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
No.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes. Try it one more time. Mr. Cicero, are you there? All right, motion.
Victor, can you hear me? Hello, Victor?
All right.
We're missing him.
All right.
Would you like to phone?
No, we were already in the middle of the vote. Motion passes 5-2. All right, we're going to move on to 8B, a call for a motion to approve payment number 2, final, dated January 28th, 2022, regarding the 2020 CDBG curb ramp program in the amount of $4,966.10 to JDC Construction Services, Inc. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. 8C, a call for a motion to approve appointing Judith Danko, the Borough Manager, as the designated agent on the designation of agent resolution for the HMGP Hazard Mitigation Planning Grant. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Do you want to just tell us briefly?
The hazard mitigation grants, we had started out with applying for 3 grants. We then consolidated them to 2. This has to do with the levee area. There will be some updated information that I'll be providing council shortly regarding the levee. And when these grants became available, the item of contention that we've been dealing with and not having the matching funds, these grants will not, we will not need matching funds. 75% of it will be paid by the state, and the other 25% will be paid from another entity. So that is why we are applying for these grants. One of the grants is backflow valve grant, and the other one is in regards to the flood mitigation in that area. So this is very positive. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 7-0. 8D, a call for a motion to approve the annual Winterfest Parade using the previously approved parade route. The Winterfest Parade is held on Saturday, will be held on Saturday, December 3rd, 2022, and to be sponsored by Hot Rides LLC of Morrisville.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Discussion. I just want to add in one thing real quick. Donna Wilson, who organizes this every year for the past few years, had a death in the family, so couldn't come tonight to speak about it. She will be here next month, basically to tell us where they're at and to thank those individuals who helped get this together for this year and also for last year. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. 8E, a call for a motion to approve Police Directive 200, active shooter incident. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Our solicitor reviewed this and it all is in order?
Yes. We're glad to see that the chief was on this. We approved the chief's draft on this. Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 7-0. Motion 8F does have a little typo in it. Instead of Morrisville Economic Advisory Council, it's actually supposed to be Morrisville Environmental Advisory Council. So with that correction, I'll call for a motion to approve installation of, by the Morrisville Environmental Advisory Council, the MEAC, of 2 anti-litter signs at the Morrisville Riverfront Preserve. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion?
So this sign is 30 inches by 30 inches?
Correct.
So I know a couple years ago that the previous councils had wanted to have uniform sized signs throughout the borough. I don't know where that stood. Ted, I don't know if you remember.
No.
You were on council then, but like, does this fit in with what our other signs throughout the borough are?
I don't remember anything passing that would dictate the size of it, but
We were trying to, like, the welcome to Morrisville signs were supposed to be.
I just think we discussed the size of those particular signs. There's nothing that I know of. Nancy, do you know of anything on the books that
No. I mean,
restricts the size?
if there's sign restrictions, that's usually done by zoning. But since some of the MEAC are here, maybe they could tell us where they're placing it. I didn't know that it was going to be visible. I thought it was, you know, it's back in the preserve area.
Yeah, it's back in the preserve, it's not on the street.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I didn't know where it was going. Yeah, so I don't think that applies. Okay.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, hearing no other comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 7-0. We have 8G, which is in addition to the agenda that we discussed earlier. Solicitor?
Mr. President, it's a motion. Morrisville Borough Council does not support the concept plan of Select Morrisville LLC as presented beginning in August of 2018 through December of 2020.
Can I have a motion?
You mean 221?
Yeah. I think the last
2021?
presentation, I think, was 2020, wasn't it? I mean, December 20th.
No, the year 2021, he said 20.
It is 2020,
2020.
Yeah.
not 2020.
When the plans were presented for.
What year are we in now?
And they did the.
It's 2022.
May I make a comment? I would agree that maybe we should take it all the way to 2021, only because there was activity during 2021.
The motion can be.
Presentation.
It has to do with the presentation of the concept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what has to, the time is irrelevant. It's, if you approve this, you're saying you don't support any of those concepts.
Point of order. The first public presentation.
There's no point of order, sir. Sir? Please don't interrupt.
So moved.
I'll second it. Discussion?
Yes.
Good.
If it was 2018, would that negate the whole thing? I mean, we have 18 down there, but Mr. Rice is saying it would happen in 19. I want to make sure we have it right.
It could just be, it doesn't matter.
It was 19.
If it's 19, then let's change it to as present, let's do it beginning in August of 2019.
Yeah.
Through 2020.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Sure.
I'd like to explain a couple of things, because there was a number of things that I've heard people speak about which are factually and legally incorrect. You can have, this council has now voted not to support these plans. I've heard other mentions. They said we shouldn't be against the expansion of the redevelopment area to include Williamson Park. The redevelopment authority cannot condemn or sell or do anything to Williamson Park without this borough's permission. That's always been the way it is. We have to give them permission to do that. The reason we wanted them in the expansion area is because we can get grants. If you're not in a redevelopment area, it's harder to get those grants. And the park needs, everyone admits that.
There's no public comment.
Everybody admits that the park needs improvements. This gives us a greater ability. It has nothing to do. It's my understanding that Morrisville Select doesn't really exist like it did before. It's my understanding that their partnership, at least there was 4 of them, 3 of them are not part of it. And they're figuring out what they want to do. I believe this sends a strong message to them. This, and I want to give a couple of other things. There's a whole multi-process. Scott could get up there and give a 10-minute tutorial about, he's an expert on redevelopment law because he did it in Allentown and Luzerne. And if the president wants to do that, we'll have him do that. But I would say a couple of things. There was some talk about, there's some kind of back dealing, there's some kind of something else going on. None of that is true. Of course, we communicate with the developer, we find out what's going on. The way it works under the MPC is that any developer that comes in here, regardless of what they want, if they want the most wonderful thing or the worst thing as far as this council is concerned, they have to provide money in escrow so that the borough's engineers, lawyers can look at it so the taxpayers don't pay for private development, which is only fair. This is part of the law. This is done, I've been doing this for 40 years. It's done throughout this Commonwealth. I represent 8 different leased municipalities and what have you. Developer comes in, they put money in escrow. This developer put his money in escrow. It's all gone, and he doesn't have anything to show for it. If, in fact, somebody wants to come here in the future, I'll say back up. This is America. We have private property rights. We're not a communist country. We're not an autocratic country. We have a right, developers, even if you don't like them, have a right to come, put their money down, and present plans to this council or to any council and see what the council wants to do. And that's just the way it works. Now, I've heard that we need something about we'll never ever develop it in the future, and this council doesn't have that power, does not have that power, because they can't bind future councils, number one. Number two, not only can they not bind future councils, but some of that parkland, ultimately, we sort of lease, not sort of, we lease. And we can't speak for that when it finally ends, when that lease would finally end. And effectively, this project, I believe, is dead. And my suggestion is that people who fought the hard fought, you should congratulate yourselves. You got people elected who saw the same way you saw it, and you should accept victory and move on, because there's nothing else that you can get, and there's nothing else a court can order. A court cannot tell this council, I'm just telling you legally, I've only been practicing for 40 years. The court cannot tell this council not to consider something that is absolutely not before this council. There is absolutely nothing for this council to consider. This council has spoken, they're not even interested in entertaining it anymore. And so as far as we're concerned, and I'm sure the court will be concerned, this matter is now over and done with and moot. And those who fought against it and have won tonight, I congratulate you for your efforts. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, we're finished with action items, but we do have a committee/board appointment. The Planning Commission, we have a 4-year appointment to expire on December 31st, 2025. We have one letter of interest from Peggy Walsh.
I'd like to make that nomination.
Okay.
Second.
We have a nomination of Peggy Walsh in a second. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Last time? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes for the appointment. Congratulations, Ms. Walsh. Moving on to 9, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
Now we have lots of unfinished business.
Did you want to talk about the rescheduling of some of the meetings, so people are aware of them?
We'll get to that in announcements. Any new business?
The mural projects.
That would be under borough officials. Let's get out of 10.
Okay.
All right. Do you need something added? I mean, something?
No, nothing to vote on. I'm just
Okay.
going to make a quick.
Okay, we'll do that under. All right, so no new business. We'll move on to 11 borough officials. Ms. Sherlock?
Okay. Couple things. One, Bucks 2040, the Bucks County Planning Commission, I mentioned this, I think, in December. The Bucks County Planning Commission is starting to do a new comp plan. And that right now they're segregating different segments of the county and are looking for input. Right now they're working with local businesses. So they're looking for businesses across the county to give them input with regards to the 2040 comp plan for the county. There was some tree tender training recently, and they talked about a tree planting. I'd encourage people to contact the MEAC to see if you can help them in any way, even support them with a donation so we can buy trees. These are for the park. The mural project that I was referring to, this was something that there was a grant that was received in conjunction with the Solid Rock Youth, and They have an artist from Cairn University. She's an intern, and she would like to do some murals in town if she can. So right now, they're working with the school district to see if they can get students from the school as well. And two concepts would be to have an art portion of it and also an essay portion. Just to ask students to write an essay as to why they like Morrisville. So the businesses will be contacted with a letter asking them if they would like to have their property, maybe have a mural on it. So this is all the very beginning. So I'm hoping it ends up being very successful. And I know there's one business on Bridge Street who's excited, but they're getting ready to do a new roof and new paint job. So as soon as that's done, they would like to be the first to get a mural. So I'll keep everybody posted.
All right. Does anyone have anything else?
I just wanted to reiterate the gentleman who spoke about Francis and Bridge Street. We also have a problem on Green. I'm sorry, Judy. I just need you to listen to this as well. I'm sorry. So we also have a problem as well as on Francis and Bridge on Green and South Pennsylvania Avenue. And I'd like to look in what we could do about that, because it is a traffic hazard, and these cars and trucks just park there and they block the view, they block the town, the streets, the houses. So I myself, I didn't know about Francis, but I myself have looked into Green Street, and I've reported it to code many, many, many times, and to no avail.
Green and
South Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, thank you.
It's actually between Washington and South Pennsylvania.
Ms. Parker, if Helen's done.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Getting back to Francis, actually, I talked to Jim this evening. It was the first thing on my list to talk to, but he came up and spoke. But he's absolutely right. And I know that the chief has tried to address it, to try to get them to park off the street. I don't know, it's been still going very well. But I would also like to see if there's any code violations that we address them as soon as possible. Because the back, he has no place for his people to park because it's a junkyard in the back. It's very similar to the Baker and Philadelphia Avenue. If everybody remembers that, that's where they had the fire. So if there's code, maybe we can address the code issues as well.
I apologize, Nancy, what roads were you?
That's Francis and Bridge Street.
Oh, okay, I have that.
That's the pictures, yes.
Yes.
And it's very, very hard to get out.
Certainly.
And dangerous. And with the snow, it was even worse.
Thank you.
But the residents on that block have been putting up with this for a very long time. And you were absolutely correct when he sort of does what he wants, even when he's spoken to. I don't know if the president will let you, but I don't think so.
Thank you.
Afterwards, you could talk, okay?
I'd just like to invite the council so that they get a full understanding of what's going on there. Is in your travels, if you can go by there sometime during a day in the week or even on a Saturday and can see what exactly is happening there, that makes it a very dangerous situation.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Mr. Parker, I have one thing to bring up. I know the last meeting, there were several people from the Morrisville Senior Service Center that were here to talk about the loss of the $3,000 grant. And I know it's very tight and, we have to eliminate a lot of stuff, but I know Mr. Robinson, you suggested that they go to Harrisburg to get the money. Well, that's not possible because it's just a different pot of money. I mean, you can't go to the state to get that. And that's a particular line item for boroughs to put in revenue, and it can only go to a couple entities, and one is we've chosen is the volunteer fire department, and the second has been the Senior Citizen Center. I don't know if all of you council people have been to the senior center. If you haven't, you should be there. It's really the heart of this community. It serves a great need. Special people in the second ward, which is the tower. The lunches and meals that are provided are only $2. And this saves on their financial, their income. It's less food for them to buy, plus the other donations that Snipes gives and all that help these people survive on a limited income. Plus, it provides social interaction. There are people there that come every day because they have no other place to go. And they would be alone, but they're not alone there. And especially what so many went through COVID, this is such an important place for them to be. The activities, the exercise, the art classes are also only a couple of dollars. So people that live on fixed incomes can participate. So I don't know where that money went. It can't go for anything else. As I understand it, I could be wrong, but I would like us to reconsider that. Thank you.
You can clarify.
If I may clarify, it was denied because of not having any funds in our budget to be able to spend on that. That's why it was denied. The suggestion to the director was to try to look into other areas of, there may be even the American Relief Funds that he may be able to request. There may be other items of relief that they can look for. But because of the fact that the borough has a budget that they have, and you have said how much we've cut and everything that we've done, this year it is not available for them. Unfortunately.
And it's a donation, right?
It would be a donation.
It's a donation. It's not a line item in our budget.
Yes.
It's in our budget, but it's a donation. And they happen to be a county entity. And our budget is so tight that we are not going to be able to apply for grants this year with matching funds required because we just don't have the funds. All right, if everyone's done with borough officials.
I'm sorry. I want to address Ms. Echo, David. We have some positions available on our committees, and maybe you would be interested in partaking in one of those. There's one for the environmental.
I'll read them. Yeah.
Oh, you'll read them.
Yeah, because I have some stuff at the end.
Oh, okay.
There is an opening on the Environmental Advisory Council. It's a 3-year appointment to expire on December 16th, 2024. There's one library board position, the remainder of an unexpired term, which expires very soon, but 3/18/2022, you could reapply for that for the next term. And then there's another one with the remainder of an unexpired term that expires on 3/18/2024. There's also a planning commission appointment. It's a 1 full-year appointment to expire on December 31st, 2025. These are on our website. If anyone is interested, you can get our manager's email, or you can email any one of the council members with a basic letter of interest in which board or committee, commission you wish to be considered for, and it will be passed along. There is one more announcement. At the end of the month, there will be a switch in dates for the Parks and Open Space. I don't have it in front of me.
It's Tuesday.
Parks and Open Space Committee and Finance Committee dates were moved to, I don't see it. Oh, yeah, to the Parks and Open Space was moved to the 22nd of February at 7 p.m. here at Borough Hall. And the Finance Committee was moved to Wednesday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. here in Borough Hall. All right, my favorite motion of the evening, which is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
There are also 2 spots on the library board.
I did that.
Oh, you said the library?
Yes. In the middle.
Okay.